Donald was the kind of man who inspired respect and admiration. As a businessman in the telecommunications industry, he built a solid business through hard work, ethics, and vision. But for him, true success was at home. Married to Karen, a loving and devoted woman, Donald was surrounded by a home filled with love and unity. Karen was the foundation of the family, caring for everyone with tenderness and ensuring the home was always a safe haven. Megan, the couple's only daughter, was the center of attention. Intelligent, cheerful, and determined, she had inherited her father's sense of responsibility and desire to make a difference. Recently, she had started working at Donald's company, which he saw as a great source of pride. He taught her patiently, passing on the values he believed were fundamental: honesty, dedication, and generosity. The life of that family seemed like something out of a fairy tale. They were close in everything from family dinners at the table to weekend park outings. They prioritized health, maintaining a routine of exercise and outdoor activities. Laughter echoed through the house, filled with happy memories and plans for the future. But fate, often unpredictable, had other plans. On a day that began like any other, something unexpected happened. It was just the beginning of a story that would test the love, courage, and strength of this golden family. Megan had always been the picture of health. Disciplined, she loved her early morning runs, which started before sunrise. It was her time to connect with herself, reflect, and prepare for the day. But recently something felt off. Small chest pains began to appear, subtle at first but intensifying over the days. Megan tried to ignore them, thinking it might just be fatigue or a minor issue. However, one morning the pain became so intense that she had to stop her run and lean on a bench. When she arrived home, still breathless and with a tight chest, she met the worried eyes of Donald and Karen. "This isn't normal, sweetheart. We need to check this out," Donald insisted with his characteristic firm yet loving tone. Karen, with tears in her eyes, held her daughter's hands. "Don't ignore this, Megan. Please." Reluctantly, but persuaded by her parents' insistence, she agreed to schedule a doctor's appointment. The doctor's office, usually a place of answers and relief, became the stage for a nightmare. After a series of tests, the doctor entered the room with a grave expression. The room seemed to freeze as he spoke the words no parent ever wants to hear. "Megan has severe heart failure. She urgently needs a heart transplant." The shock was immediate. Karen covered her mouth with her hands, silent tears streaming down her face. Donald held Megan firmly by the shoulders, as if his embrace could shield her from the harsh reality. Megan, still trying to process the words, felt an emptiness settle over her. The doctor continued, "Time is not on our side. We're talking about a matter of weeks. We'll begin searching for a donor immediately." Days passed and hope became an increasingly heavy burden. Despite all efforts, no compatible donor was found. Megan's unique physical characteristics made the search for a suitable heart even more difficult. Donald and Karen took turns keeping vigil, holding their daughter's hands as she battled fatigue and pain. Each passing day seemed to drain a little more of her energy. Megan, once so vibrant, began to weaken but never stopped smiling at her parents. "Don't worry. Everything will be okay," she would say, even though her voice grew weaker each time. But Donald and Karen could see hope slipping through their fingers, unable to find a solution. Once again, fate placed this family in a situation that would test the limits of love and strength. Meanwhile, Donald began to reflect on a possibility that could change their lives forever. A decision born out of pain but also the purest love a father could feel for his daughter. The nights were long in Donald and Karen's house. The silence of the early hours was broken only by Karen's whispered prayers, while Donald stared out the window, searching the sky for some answer to the anguish consuming their hearts. Megan, increasingly frail, rested in her room, unaware of the discussions and decisions about to take place. In an effort to save her daughter, Karen decided to undergo detailed testing. She was determined to find out if she could be the donor. But hope quickly gave way to disappointment. Small heart issues that hadn't been a concern before now made it impossible for her to donate her heart. She cried alone in the doctor's office, feeling powerless and guilty. Meanwhile, Donald, consumed by the pain of watching Megan lose strength each day, began to consider the unthinkable. When the doctor informed him that his heart was fully compatible with his daughter's, a decision started to take shape in his mind. It was the hardest choice of his life but also the most obvious for a father whose love knew no bounds. On a night of absolute sincerity, Donald called Karen to talk. He was sitting on the edge of the bed, his eyes red and voice trembling. "Karen, we need to talk." She immediately sensed the weight in his voice and felt a tightness in her chest. Donald held her hands tightly as if drawing courage from her touch. "I know what needs to be done. My heart is compatible and I can save our daughter." Karen's eyes widened in disbelief. "Donald, this is madness. You're talking about giving your life for her," she said, her words breaking into sobs. Donald nodded, tears streaming down his face. "She's our little princess, Karen. I can't watch her fade away knowing I can do something. I would give my life for her without a second thought." Karen, overwhelmed by a whirlwind of emotions, wept uncontrollably. She knew that what Donald was saying was true, but the thought of losing the man she loved was unbearable. He held her tightly, trying to convey a sense of calm. "You know this is the right thing to do. She has her whole life ahead of her. I've lived enough to know that the greatest gift I can give is to see her live." After long hours of conversation filled with tears and silences, Karen finally nodded, though her heart was breaking. "I don't know how to live without you, Donald, but I know you're doing this out of love. And I'll support you." The two embraced, crying together. It was a decision born out of pain but also the purest love. Donald knew his choice wouldn't be understood by many, but for him Megan's smile and future were worth more than his own life. It was a sacrifice only a father could make. The night before the surgery, Donald quietly entered Megan's room. She was sleeping peacefully, her face serene but her body weakened by the illness. He sat beside her, taking in every detail of her face. Her eyes, which so often sparkled with joy, were now closed in a rest that seemed to offer brief relief. With a lump in his throat, Donald stood up and went to his office. There he prepared to leave something Megan could cherish forever. A video, his final message of love. With the camera on, he took a deep breath and began to speak. His voice, initially steady, soon became filled with emotion. "Hi, my princess. If you're watching this, it means everything went well. I want you to know that my heart has always been yours from the moment you were born. And now it literally will be. I made this decision because I love you more than my own life." He paused, wiping away the tears that refused to stop. "Promise me you'll take care of your mom, okay? She'll need you. Be strong and continue our story. Do amazing things, live fully, and never forget that I'm with you in every beat of your heart." When he finished, Donald felt a sense of relief, as though part of his love could be immortalized in that message. He carefully stored the video and, as he stood up, looked at the camera as if trying to leave one last expression of hope. The next morning, the hospital was filled with a tense atmosphere. Megan, unaware of the origin of the heart that would save her life, seemed cheerful and optimistic. Donald, by her side, wore a calm smile, even as the weight of farewell pressed heavily on his chest. He leaned down, placed a gentle kiss on her forehead and whispered, "I love you, my princess." Megan, suspecting nothing, smiled back. "I love you too, Dad. Thank you for always being here for me." Karen, devastated, tried to stay strong. With trembling hands, she held Donald's until the last moment before he was taken into the operating room. Silent tears streamed down her face as she murmured, "I'll never forget what you're doing for her. For our love." Donald simply squeezed her hand, offering reassurance. "Take care of her, Karen. And tell her I'll always be close." With one final look, he was taken into surgery. The sacrifice Donald was about to make was the ultimate expression of love. As the operating room doors closed, Karen felt the void of goodbye but also the certainty that the greatest gift a father could give was about to be offered. Donald entered the room with peace in his heart. He knew he was saving Megan, his little princess, and ensuring she had a bright future. For him there was no clearer choice. It was love in its purest form. The surgery was an absolute success. The heart now beating in Megan's chest carried not only life but the unconditional love of her father. Recovery was gradual but promising. Each day she regained strength, color, and the smile that had once disappeared began to light up her face again. Megan couldn't stop thanking the doctors, unaware of the true sacrifice behind her new chance at life. After weeks in the hospital, she was finally ready to return home. Karen welcomed her with a long, tight hug, a gesture that seemed to carry all the love and pain she couldn't yet put into words. Megan, with her cheerful and optimistic spirit, said, "I feel like I'm living again, Mom. I don't know how to thank you for everything you've done for me." Karen, smiling through tears, replied, "You are the greatest blessing your father and I ever had." But deep down she knew there was something she still couldn't share. Donald's video remained safely stored, a capsule of love and farewell waiting for the right moment to be revealed. The doctors had been clear. Megan needed to be emotionally strong to handle the truth. Karen respected this guidance, even though it was difficult to keep the secret. Days passed and Megan showed impressive vitality. She resumed small activities, rediscovering the joy of walking through the garden or sitting on the couch with her mom for long conversations. During one of those moments, as the evening light filled the room, Karen decided it was time for Megan to learn the truth. "Sweetheart, I need to show you something. It's about your father." Megan looked at her, curious and a little apprehensive. Karen played the video on the laptop, sitting next to her daughter and holding her hand. On the screen, Donald's image appeared, and his voice filled the room with a mix of serenity and emotion. "Hi, my princess. If you're watching this, it means everything went well. I want you to know that my heart has always been yours from the moment you were born. And now it literally will be." The words began to unfold like an avalanche of emotions. Megan, initially confused, quickly realized what her father had done for her. Tears streamed down her face and her body trembled with deep sobs. Donald continued, "Take care of your mom, be strong and continue our story. Do amazing things, live fully and never forget that I'm with you in every beat of your heart." Megan collapsed into Karen's arms, sobbing harder than she ever had before. He gave his life for me, Mom. How could he do that?" Karen, also crying, held her daughter tightly. "He did it out of love because you were everything to him. You were his world, Megan." In that moment, Megan felt the weight of Donald's sacrifice but also the immense love he had left behind as his legacy. It was as if every beat of her heart was a reminder of her father's eternal love. Silently, she promised to honor his sacrifice every single day of her life. With her father's heart beating inside her, Megan felt not only life pulsing in her chest but also the immense love Donald had left behind. His words from the video echoed in her mind. He hadn't just given her a new chance at life. He had given her a mission: to continue the family's story and make something meaningful out of this new life. Sitting in the office where Donald had spent so many years building his business, Megan looked around, seeing every detail as a reflection of her father's hard work and values. To her, the business wasn't just a company but a symbol of determination, honesty, and generosity. It was time to turn it into something even greater, something that reflected Donald's sacrifice. Megan made a decision that would forever change the course of the company. A portion of the profits would be dedicated to supporting orphanages and hospitals caring for children with severe illnesses. She wanted the company to be a force for change, a place that didn't just generate profit but also saved lives and gave hope to those who needed it most. Over the years, Megan worked tirelessly to expand her father's vision. Under her leadership, the company thrived like never before. New contracts, partnerships, and opportunities emerged, and the results began to show. More than numbers, it was the impact that touched Megan deeply. Orphanages were revitalized, hospitals received cutting-edge equipment, and hundreds of children gained access to treatments that once seemed impossible. Karen, by her daughter's side, witnessed every achievement with tears of pride in her eyes. She knew Donald would have been incredibly happy to see what Megan was accomplishing. "He would be so proud of you, my love," she said during a dinner, holding her daughter's hand. Megan smiled, her eyes shining. "All of this is for him, Mom. He gave me life and taught me what it means to love and care for others. I'm just trying to honor the heart he gave me." Megan's promise became a commitment that changed lives. Donald's name was spoken with admiration and respect by everyone who knew the story. His sacrifice didn't just save his daughter but planted seeds of hope that grew and flourished, touching the lives of hundreds of people. Karen and Megan together built a new chapter in the family's story. And with every beat of Megan's heart, Donald's legacy lived on, reminding everyone that true love is eternal and capable of transforming the world. Donald's sacrifice was not in vain. The love he had sown flourished not only in the lives of Karen and Megan but also in the lives of everyone touched by that family. Megan turned her pain into strength and her longing into action, carrying forward her father's generous spirit. Karen found solace in her daughter's smile and the positive impact Donald had left on the world. Love, truth, and justice prevailed, showing that the greatest legacy one can leave is the love they've shared. And so, Donald's heart continued to beat, not just in Meghan's chest but in all the lives he touched with his act of eternal love.